And how about a moment of uplift? Yeah? All right. A viral online phenomenon claims to have further opened the door to human-canine communication. Pre-recorded buttons that allow dogs to seemingly talk with their humans.
But are all these button enthusiasts barking up the wrong tree? William Brangham, along with his pup Macy, doggedly pursue the truth.
You didn't know dogs could talk?
It's been a fascination of ours for generations.
Speak!
Hi there.
Getting man's best friend to talk.
I like to play ball. I like Purple Bird in the window.
And for good reason. Tens of millions of us live with and love the dogs in our lives, including me. And we want to know what they're thinking.
We love dogs and we love bonding with them. But I think while we know that they understand us pretty well, many of us still struggle making sense of what they want.
Federico Rossano studies animal communication. He's a cognitive scientist at the University of California, San Diego.
When you see your dog scratching at the door, you might know they want to get out, but you don't know why they want to get out.
But our furry friends have remained frustratingly mum. That is, until this Australian cattle dog named Stella stepped onto a button and into online fame. Stella's dog mom is Christina Hunger. She's a speech pathologist who got the idea for these dog buttons after working with nonverbal children, where she'd often use a tablet to assist them in communicating.
At the same time, I brought a puppy home who was just bursting with communication, which led me to the question, if dogs can understand words we say to them, why can't they say words back? What if they had a different way to talk, similar to kids who use devices?
The idea behind these buttons is that you record onto the button a word or a phrase that you use all the time with your dog. For my dog Macy, that could be,
Go for a walk?
or,
Want a treat?
and then every time I do that action in the course of a day, I press the button. And with enough repetition, the hope is that someday Macy would push that button to communicate back with me.
We can play.
Hunger spent weeks demonstrating her buttons for Stella with no results. She was about to call it quits when Stella seemed to get it.
She just started looking at the button and looking up at me, or she would actually swat and miss it.
You're so close, Stella.
And that's when I knew that there was some potential here, and I kept going with teaching. And then a week later, she said her first word, outside.
Let's go outside.
Hunger's blog and her social media videos have drawn millions of viewers, including cognitive scientist Rossano, who was skeptical.
Outside.
I was like, well, there's one dog doing it and that's great, but we know that there's a history of trying to communicate with animals, and that history was a little, let's say, complicated.
That history includes a horse named Clever Hans, who wowed audiences in the early 1900s for seemingly being able to do math. Turns out Hans was just picking up subtle cues from his handler. But the buttons and the people and dogs who used them kept growing in popularity.
I dog, we friend, yeah!
I had no business teaching my dog how to talk. I wasn't a speech language pathologist or a dog trainer or a scientist, but what the heck?
Alexis Devine and her sheepadoodle Bunny were inspired by Christina Hunger. She started posting Bunny's progress online.
No.
She says after 6 years of steady work, Bunny now knows over 100 words, and she claims uses them in novel ways.
I think one of the most powerful moments was when she had a foxtail embedded in the webbing between her paws. So she went over to her board and she pressed mad ouch. And I said, where is your ouch? And she pressed stranger paw. So she had used stranger in a way that I had never modeled it. Stranger being something foreign object.
Videos like this went crazy online. Over 8 million people follow Bunny and Devine on TikTok. She's now written a book, sells her own brand of button boards, and has inspired millions more to try them.
Treat?
You want treats?
Cats, otters, and even pot-bellied pigs are now experimenting with the buttons.
You have to say thank you.
Why?
This sudden growth in button users gave Rossano an opportunity, a large-scale study of button communication focusing on dogs.
Our plan of having maybe 100, 200 participants turned into more than 10,000 participants from 47 countries and is the largest animal communication studies ever attempted.
Over several months, Rossano and his team collected and analyzed millions of button pushes and hundreds of hours of video of dogs using them. They also conducted controlled behavioral studies. A first finding from their research, published in August, concludes that dogs can comprehend specific words and can offer contextually appropriate responses. But Rossano says that's still a far cry from proving they can use actual human-like language.
I don't see the evidence that the dogs are really understanding language in anything close to the way that you and I are as we talk together here.
Clive Wynne studies dog psychology. He directs the Canine Science Collaboratory at Arizona State University. He says dogs using those buttons is fine, but don't get carried away with what is really going on.
I don't think that inside the mind of a dog, there is a human mind desperate to get out. I think inside a dog's head, there's a dog's mind, and a dog's mind has its own ways of communicating.
Yeah, when my dog wants to communicate that she's hungry, she does two things. She nudges my elbow with her snout, or she stands by her food bowl. And it's crystal clear what she wants, that she's hungry.
So that's a beautiful example, William, of how you have learned your dog's language. Your dog has a way of communicating with you about their desire for food. And you would not gain anything by training your dog to press buttons that would say the exact same thing.
For Christina Hunger, who now sells her own line of button boards, there's simply a way of enriching and deepening our relationship to these animals that have lived alongside us for tens of thousands of years.
Buttons will never replace body language. They're another tool that adds on top of and gives a lot more clarification for both the dog and the human.
Macy, want a treat?
Want a treat?
For the PBS NewsHour, from the new frontier in human-canine communication,
I'm going to push the button.
I'm William Brangham.
Want a treat?
How many of those buttons are you going to put in your house for your new dog?
All of them. I feel like my dog needs 2 buttons. Treat now. That's it. Treat now. Yogi's covered.
All right, that is the NewsHour.